who gets to decide what's anti-Semitism?
If everything is Jew hatred, then nothing is Jew hatred.
A 76-word definition written in 2016 is now at the center of one of the biggest debates in the world. Governments are using it to make laws. The United States is using it to screen visa applicants. But it has become a political weapon. So who does the definition really protect? The definition comes from the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, the IHRA. Adopted in 2016, it defines anti-Semitism as, quote, a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Fair. But with that definition are 11 examples, and 7 of them specifically reference the state of Israel. Among those examples, calling, for instance, Israel a racist endeavor, that could be anti-Semitism, comparing Israeli policy to that of the also anti-Semitism, applying what it calls double standards to Israel, also anti-Semitism. Now, the definition does include a disclaimer. It says criticism of Israel similar to that of, quote, against any other country is not anti-Semitism. But that's practiced? We don't see that. Over 43 UN member states have now formally endorsed the IHR definition, including Germany, the United States, the UK, France, and Australia, just to name a few. And here's where it gets contested. Palestinian rights groups say that the definition has been used as a legal cover to suppress pro-Palestinian speech, shut down campus events, and label human rights advocacy as hate speech. In the UK, after the government adopted the IHRA definition, at least 2 universities moved to ban Israel Apartheid Week events, citing these very definitions as legal grounds. In Germany, it has been used to cancel cultural events and refuse public funding to artists who support Palestine. And in the context of Gaza, rights groups say the definition has been weaponized to silence those documenting what the International Court of Justice has described. I don't want to get shadow banned here. In April 2023, a group of 104 civil society organizations, including Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and the American Civil Liberties Union, they wrote directly to the UN Secretary General. Their message was not to adopt this definition. They argued it has been expressed and repeatedly used to wrongly label criticism of Israel as anti-Semitic and to shut down non-violent protest, activism, and free speech. Even Ken Stern, he's the man who wrote the definition, the IHR definition. He himself has said that it has been misused, in his words, as a blunt instrument to label anyone as an anti-Semite. The letter also pointed to 2 alternative definitions, the Jerusalem Declaration on Anti-Semitism, backed by hundreds of Holocaust scholars, and the Nexus document, which both acknowledge that criticism of Israel can cross a line, but set clear boundaries around what legitimate speech looks like. The UN has not formally adopted the IHR definition. And now the debate has reached the American guys in power. Vice President J.D. Vance has publicly pushed back on how anti-Semitism label is being applied. Speaking on a podcast, he said,
in order to serve a certain foreign policy objective, try to criticize somebody as anti-Semitic when they're just not.
But while Vance was cautioning against the overuse of the label, that's not what his government was doing. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has ordered authorities to monitor the social media of certain visa applicants, specifically students, who are suspected of criticizing the US and Israel. According to reports, over 300 visas, mostly of students, have been canceled just because of this definition. Among those was a Turkish PhD student, Romeysa Öztürk. She was arrested by masked ICE agents after co-authoring an op-ed to acknowledge that Palestinian. That's not such a big crime, is it? This definition is meant to protect a people from hatred. Jewish community has a fair right to it. But what it's not meant to do is cause censorship of words, protests, and filtering of those who get to enter one of the most powerful countries in the world.